began with a bold vision to build KL Metropolis, a development that would establish a new international trade and exhibition district in Malaysia, built in partnership with the government by Naza Group's property arm, Naza TTDI. The crown jewel of this grand vision is the Malaysia International Trade and Exhibition Centre, the preferred international destination for exhibitions and events. Like the fine gold and silver threads of the Songket weave that inspired its facade design, MyTech is the embodiment of refined craftsmanship, creativity and precision. As Malaysia's largest exhibition centre, MyTech's functional spaces are unprecedented. Primed for exceptional displays, surrounded by state-of-the-art facilities and amenities. This iconic structure affirms a commitment to innovative excellence. It is a showpiece of engineering ingenuity. An enduring icon built for a new Malaysian era of success.
Hi everyone, I'm live again here from MyTech. There was a little bit of technical issue, my computer wanted to sleep, so I'm back again. We just finished an amazing session, a technology session, and Roshan and Jasmine had a good time with you, talking about the new things in the new ways and the new ways of seeing the world through technology and the Microsoft Teams and all the things that can change the world. Hope you like that one, and we will go live here with a video from Angelo Tirhas. Angelo is in Singapore, and he's coming from Singapore, and he did a wonderful video with us. He interviewed some kids, and in the next video you will see those kids, how they are living, how they are seeing the world. It's totally different, so I want to show you their perspective. Let me share my screen. So I'm just setting up this this video, and we do that together. You know, this is a summit that I just did because I wanted to show you that everyone can do something big like this. Everyone can have a global impact. So I just improvise all the way with the help of a very small team. I'm going online and I found out that I will do StreamYard all the way, and I'm figuring out with a big team how to manage all this. So you saw already today all the sessions that we did, and today we are continuing. We already had a nice show in the morning, and now we will continue with more shows. You already had a morning news, you already had some fitness sessions with Ryan, and you can still keep watching those shows. You can still go online and watch the shows on the What We Mean One Workshop website, because they are available forever. We left there or legacy, so whenever you want to watch it, you can go to whatwemeanOneWorkshops.com. You click on the join now, and you can rewatch the already the sessions that we already did and finished, and you can learn more about it, and we will do it together. So let's go. Let me show all the things that we have to show for you today, and yeah, let's enjoy this session with Angelo Tirhas. So I will share the video. I have to tell that you have to be patient with me because this is ever the first summit that I do, especially online. And this is 1 month since I'm using StreamYard. So I hope you will understand what's going on here. It's not so simple to handle these things all the way. So now you will see this video. I will check again my sound settings. That's the most important things. You can already warm up. Please tell me where you are from. And tell me, what do you think about the summit? I know you see a lot of different things. What was your favorite yesterday? And yeah, just let's work together. All right, so let me share my screen again so that I'm doing this little tick. Whenever you go online on StreamYard, don't forget to click the share audio button, because for me, that's always the quest and the challenge to do that. All right, now we are going, and I will make this big, and you can see this amazing. Just watch the kids, and I don't know, when I was first seeing this video, I was just like blown away because see the depthness and whatever they know, I have never known that when I was their age. So please check this video, enjoy, and it will be around 20 minutes with the kids. And after that, we are meeting again, and we will be live again from my tech.
Hi, my name is Angelo, and I'm the founder of Future Summits Online and Future Summits Online Junior, a platform where we help people to become future ready and future proof. Future Summits Online Junior was created so that we can involve the young people who are the future of tomorrow in creating that future. In today's segment, we will be discussing mental health and empowerment. The answers and the opinions you will get are varied because the children are varied ages. But you will all agree with me that it's very, very interesting to actually, for once, get the opinion of the younger generation. And maybe it'll open our eyes to what our reality might be. Enjoy. Okay, so the first question is, what does mental health mean to you?
Mental health is actually about the health of it's like kind of like mental health is basically physical health, but in a microscopic level in your brain. Like literally, it just molecules and then protons and electrons have like how many times like flowing the electricity and like that in between your neurons and synapses, all that stuff. So basically, a healthy brain will have them in a normal all those chemicals balanced and electrical signals. But when they're not healthy, they're imbalanced, or there's a drug supplementing one of the chemicals, or making your electrical signals fired in a different way that replaces some other chemical that makes the electrical signals go, or does something and that makes you feel okay until you stop taking the drug. Then you feel bad, and it takes a while for your body to actually try to make the chemical again. So that time you have a chance to end up be like, oh, I really need to take the drug, and that's the last thing you want to do. When your body has lots of hormones and chemicals that basically make you sad and depressed and all that stuff, it also has to do with the electrical signals. If like traumatized happens because your brain doesn't want that same thing to happen again, that you almost died and doesn't want to take the risk again, so it implants a very terrible memory and sometimes exaggerates it. So you quickly forget some points of the thing and make it more exaggerated, but the brain makes it feel a little more real, the exaggerations, so you don't think it's fake, the exaggerations, to protect. It's basically like a protection, like from the fight or flight response. But these days, it's just a leftover thing that ends up infecting us, like fighting, and then we're like, oh, I'm scared, I don't want to do it again, and your brain over and over again eventually makes your brain really terrified and ends up throwing a whole bunch of chemicals in your brains around. And sometimes your brain could and it can find out and realizes of past tense, but it just makes you still feel bad from the experience, even though your brain knows about it. Like, I know that's from a long time ago. And then your brain knows it, and you just feel you have different emotions, but still feel bad emotions.
Is your feelings, how it affects your health, not really your physical health, because I guess because even in the world of mental health, it's mental health, not physical health. I'm honestly, when you hear about mental health, the first thing that comes to your mind for me is depression. Mental health, you think about, oh, depression or anxiety. Yeah.
Take something like physical health. I think that's just the well-being of how you are physically. I think we've over time realized that you can find yourself in a situation where you're unhealthy mentally, and that can actually be considered worse than physical health because it hurts. My opinion on mental health is it's the well-being on how we are mentally. And happiness is happiness is such an important thing in life. And I think the lack of happiness can be considered an unhealthy mindset. And I think that does affect many people because some certain people have physical disabilities, and I suppose that's bad for their physical health. I mean, we've identified that as human beings. We've noticed that certain people have disabilities. Certain people, I mean, when you injure yourself, we can identify that you're in pain through that. But I think over time we have discovered that certain people can possess an unhealthy mindset. And I suppose that can mean many things, such as lack of happiness. And that is an injury to a human being, but it's within our mind, so it's harder to identify. So I think which is why it's a new topic, because I think over time we've realized that certain people can be affected negatively by mental health. So that's my answer.
Do you know what suicide is? And if so, would you like to talk about it?
It is definitely a negative topic, but I feel that although it's negative, we should definitely be speaking about it because it is a problem. And I don't think we should hide from it just because it's a negative thing. So I'd love to speak about it. I don't have serious opinions about it since it's not something I think about that often. I mean, the only times I think about it is when it's brought up in school or, just when it's brought up by somebody else in general. But yeah, I mean, I definitely know what it is. I know it's an issue. I know how badly it affects certain people, how badly it affects the world. So yeah.
I feel I would like to talk about it because I think a lot of people, when they hear the word suicide, they hide away from it. They don't want to hear about it because they're uncomfortable about hearing about suicide. But it's a real thing. It's really happening. Like, I just saw in the news a few days ago, a boy took his own life. And I was like, wow, it's really unfortunate because, like, every day there's hundreds and thousands of people that are taking their own life. And it's a really, really big matter, but people just like ignore it as if it's like, they just put it at the side as if it's not important, but it's a really important thing.
Do you notice when your parents' mental health goes down?
Most of the time, yeah. Unless they're trying to hide it, that's actually pretty easy to just like try to pretend that nothing has happened, and then you're just like painful, and then as soon as no one's looking, you release the most.
I feel that my parents, they're really happy people, but they're also really expressive people. So you can tell when something's wrong. Not really when my mother's sad, but when my mother's angry, you can tell, oh my gosh, she's angry. You need to like back off because she's angry. And sometimes I wonder, like, she can be like really happy, and then when I show some attitude, sometimes you can tell when she gets angry, her face will change, and she's like, but she was like this like a few seconds ago, and then now she's like, so you can tell. But I feel that it's really hard to tell when she's sad, because she doesn't show when she's sad. Like, it's really rare that you see her cry. The only time she cries is when we're watching a really sad show. That's the most. not really when like she's actually feeling sad. Like, and I think she does feel sad at times. Of course, who doesn't feel sad? She does feel sad at times, but she doesn't let people know about it. Yeah.
What advice would you give adults so that you can make sure the future of mental health is positive?
Don't take street drugs. Only take drugs from the doctor and at the exact amount at the doctor says. If you take more, big problem. So only take drugs if it's necessary, and do not take street drugs. And take if it's from the if the drug is prescribed to the from your doctor, ask the amount that you should take, and don't take too much. Don't even think about it of anything with drugs in it unless it's the doctor and you're taking the exact amounts they say. Have fun and learn in a happy way. Don't be scared about it. Yeah, if you're scared, you won't succeed. Like try to think of stuff like to make it fun, like maybe like a milestone, like for every for any progress that's a little bit that you think it's difficult, and you realize it's actually pretty easy.
There's a lot of things you can do to, I guess, exercise your mental health. You can read a book, write a story, go for a walk, go running, do some dance, go swimming. There's so many things you can do. A lot of kids, when they tell their parents they're sad, or at least for me, okay, I feel like, because for every different child, they have different parents. All parents react differently. Like maybe I can tell my mom that I'm sad and she'll like try to cheer me up. She does. That's why I'm so happy, because she tries to cheer me up. But there are some children, at least now that because I'm K6 and I'm taking PSLE, there's a lot of stress on us because your teachers are asking you to do well. Your parents have these high standards for you, and the papers are really, really hard. So I feel if you're a really fierce parent and you don't really want to understand how your children feel, the children have nobody to talk to. They just bottle it up. And that's not really a good thing. Only children that can feel sad. Adults face it too. Not just children. Like most children, they'll be like, oh, so sad, I have to do homework. Or adults as well. There's things that they could be sad about, not just children. As an adult, you have work, and if you have a house, you have to pay the bills, you have to clean the house, you have to cook, and you have to like do so many things. You have so many responsibilities as an adult. But you shouldn't stress yourself too much on all your responsibilities. Yes, it's a responsibility, but you know, you need to live your life too. You need to be happy. What's the point of being sad when you can be happy? There's so many things you can do when you're happy.
Well, I think the main piece of advice that I would give adults about mental health in general is to consider the fact that it's more than just somebody's unhappy because of this or that. I think mental health can be caused by so many things because our brains are so complex. And I think the complexity of our brains has a huge impact on our mental health. And I think, what I meant to say is the complexity of our brains can react to certain things differently. And I think as a result, there's so many different factors which dictate your mental state. And I just think that it would be important if adults kind of take the time to educate themselves on what exactly are the factors which can affect mental health. Because, I think or at least like a couple of years ago, one of the big things that adults were doing in schools the adults who deal with kids the most, I think they just simply said, mental health, people who are suffering from mental health, they're just getting bullied or this or that, right? Just very simple surface things. But I think it's far deeper than that, because I think there's so many different things. I mean, even for me, and the reason why I'm saying this is, I mean, for me, I suppose the only time I felt, I guess, mentally unstable was during the COVID-19 quarantine, because I was just socially isolated. So that kind of had a drastic effect on me. So I think it's far deeper than just being treated badly or just being treated negatively in general. I think there's so many different factors, and you don't necessarily have to be bullied or, be made fun of to experience negative health. So yeah, I just ask if adults could develop an understanding of the complexity. They can dictate ultimately what happens because to kids' mental health, because they, I suppose, kind of develop the systems that kids live through while they're kids. And it's ultimately the systems that they live through which have the biggest effect on them, which is why we go to school when we're young. So I think if adults can develop a better understanding of it, then they can impose, I suppose, a different system that kids live through as kids, to firstly develop a better mindset among other kids. And I think a good mindset is contagious in that sense. And I think once one or two kids have a good mindset, then it's just gonna, it's gonna spread. So,
what does empowerment mean to you? And do you feel empowered as a young person today?
I think I definitely focus on growing as a person, growing as a student, growing as, whatever it is I do. I do these short films, growing as an artist in that sense. So I definitely feel empowered in that sense, because I always feel the constant need to grow and expand my understanding in the things that I'm passionate for. And as a result, I think for me, I hate doing things by myself, and I love bringing other people to do stuff with me. So I think if I want to learn something in a specific area and I want to take somebody with me, I almost feel like it's my duty as well to educate them and help them kind of get to a point where they can educate themselves on the topic as well.
This is a question, why do companies like Udemy that are supposed to give knowledge and all that stuff, don't let kids do it? Don't even let kids do it when the kids actually have research. And actually accepts us, because I am tired of waiting, and I'm not going to here just to wait for me or my brother or both of us to be 13, because that's dumb.
As a kid, if you tell someone your thoughts about any situation, actually most situations, they will just cut you off because you're a child, you don't know anything. But I'm a child, but I know a lot of things too, okay? Honestly, I feel that they don't think as well as children do, because children, they are usually looking on the bright side. One thing children have that adults don't is the brighter side of things. Like you see, you see a glass on the floor, all right? Adults, they'll be like, oh my gosh, it's going to break, it's broken. I need to pay for this. How am I going to get the money to pay for this? But for children, they'll be like, it actually looks nice. I can draw this out. This is really nice. Like, you don't really worry about how you're going to pay for it, if it's broken. You just think, this is actually really nice to draw.
Does social media make you feel empowered or disempowered, and why?
Social media makes me feel extremely empowered, and I think it makes me feel extremely empowered, and it almost makes me feel like I have a duty, just like every other person my age has a duty to kind of fix the world, to kind of fix the issues that the world consists of today. Because I think one of the main things that social media does is it highlights everything that's wrong with the world, and it just makes those things go viral. And I think, social media has such a heavy influence on people around my age. So I think the future generation in general feels extremely empowered to fix the world, since social media has such a big influence on their thoughts and how they think about the world and how they think the world should be in comparison to how it is now and in comparison to how it used to be. So yeah.
I feel most kids these days, or at least kids my age these days, they're really worried about their image. I don't know what they have, okay? But they have Instagram and all. And sometimes my friends will come up to me and they were like, you know, the other day on my Instagram post, someone commented that I should lose some weight. Nowadays, it's like you have to be like really, really skinny, like a stick, and you're pretty. And you have to like, I guess it's not only just for modeling, it's for everybody. Like you can be really skinny and people will call you you're too skinny. They'll hate on you for being too skinny. But if you're bigger size or more plump built, they'll be like, oh, you're so fat, lose some weight. So you're like, should I lose some weight or should I just stay? Also, like, I feel the good thing about social media now, I feel a lot of people's mindsets have changed, but some people's mindsets still haven't. Like, I used my friend's Instagram account and I was just going through because I don't have control over my own Instagram, so oh well. So I was using her phone and I was like, okay, wait, let me go see something. And I was just scrolling through a girl's, she's really, really pretty, her post, but she's not really that popular. When I scrolled towards the bottom, it was like, oh, you should lose some weight, stop eating so much. You should like go exercise. And I'm like, this is not a good thing to say.
We hope you enjoyed this segment of Future Summits Online Junior. We are very excited about this project because so far we have got so many wonderful responses from young people that they now feel more empowered, they have a voice, they can speak out, and they can give their opinions, and we can learn so much from them. If you want to know more about Future Summits Online or Future Summits Online Junior, please visit futuresummitsonline.com or you can email us at summit@futuresummitsonline.com. We hope to hear from you soon and to see you on our next summit.
The world is a forest in which all lose their way. Through different paths, we go astray. Walking our way against the stream of life, stumbling upon unexpected shouts of struggle. Our future may seem carved in stone, but our heart knows the truth. They say the best way to see life is through the eyes of a child. How can I understand you if I have not gone through the life you have lived? Can you understand me if you have not visited my world? One should be acknowledged by their determination, not by the color of their skin. Do not compare yourself with others. compare yourself with who you were before. When I falter, I should hope that a helping hand will lift me up. For some people, acceptance is not a given. Their freedom of choice is denied. Yet, like millions of butterflies swarming the lake, their lives matters too. Hear the pain in silence, even when it's unspoken. One can get trapped in a box that's too small to breathe in. I shall overcome and rise. When I'm done wiping off my tears, I shall give myself permission to laugh. I will flow into a whole new way of being in the world, empowered and healed. We are different, we are diverse. It's time to think about empowerment differently. The power of moving forward is fueled by colorful connections. From now on, the future will be written by all of us. But now, with my
Yes.
Hi everyone from Kuala Lumpur all the way to New York and everyone in between. Thank you for joining us today. Before we start our session, please keep your social distancing and stay safe. Okay, before we start,
Yep.
here is Sang, my wonderful friend here, and she's a go-getter and a content creator. And another panelist today is Bagya, and she's a self-taught photographer and a woman empowered person. Let's start with Sang.
Hi.
How do you define self-development, and how do you find the best version of yourself?
Okay, basically, in my opinion, I think self development means that when you take a step, when you know you're not good in something, and then you take step or you take action to improve yourself, then that is what you literally develop yourself by taking steps and actions so that you improve yourself. Like for instance, you can take me as an example. Like I'm a final year student and I'm almost there to get myself into the workforce, right? So want myself I want my LinkedIn profile to be good enough. I want to strengthen my LinkedIn profile. So I go to classes, I go to coachings and I attend coachings and stuff like that so that it will strengthen my LinkedIn profile. So since I know that I don't have a good LinkedIn profile, I take steps and actions to improvise what it is. I'm like trying to better myself with the things. So that is basically what I think self development is.
So
Yep.
you basically find out where you're lacking and where you need to improve, and
Yep.
just go and do it.
Yes. The
That,
actions what I take is what self-development is.
great,
I'm developing myself.
great. Thank you. Bagya, same question to you. How do you do that?
Okay, so I totally agree on what Sangri is saying. And as for me, I truly believe in the fact that you should accept yourself first, fully. Only when you accept yourself, including your flaws, your advantages, disadvantages, you can work on yourself. You can focus on what you can develop more on your advantages, and you can focus on how to rework, repair your disadvantages. So when you don't fully accept yourself, you end up forcing yourself into something that you are not ready to be. So that creates a mess when you constantly force yourself without understanding what you really are, who you really are. So accepting yourself and understanding what are your advantages and disadvantages and willing to work on it is how self development works for me.
That's a great point, actually. Yes, I totally agree. You have to first accept yourself and believe in yourself before you even think about how
True.
to grow, how to improve, right?
Yep.
True.
Uh, that brings me to the next question.
Yeah.
So you're at this stage, and you want to make some decisions. You want to decide to grow. You want to decide to do this, to do that. What key factors do you consider when you make a decision?
Okay, when in decision making process, right, mostly in decision making process, the power is mostly towards the adults, right?
Mhm.
So when the youth want to be in the decision making process, I feel that they have to be confident in themselves first, because you have to do what you really want to do. You always don't think from here, because this is literally like molded from the society. So do it from here. If this says okay to you, and this is what is meant for you, then if you think this will work, then go for it. But then the same time, I feel overconfident is not good as well. Being a bit of confident is fine, but anything which is too much is dangerous. So uh, I think like overconfident is a barrier for decision making process. But you believe in yourself anyway, and do it, just go for it. So you decide what you want to do. Yeah.
There's a very fine line between confident and like maybe show off or
Yeah.
overly confident.
Yeah.
That's right.
True.
What do you think, Bagya?
So, as for me, there are two ways to look at it. Is first of all, actually, previously, I used to follow this quote from my favorite movie, Dead Poets Society, featuring Robin Williams. He said this one thing, "Carpe diem," which literally translate into "seize the day" or "seize the moment." Most of us are driven by this quote, like we just want to do it, we are just ready for the moment, let's just do this, we are not going to get a second chance, let's say. But then one question I constantly ask myself when it comes to major decision making is that, will my future self be happy about this decision I'm making? Let's say in 10 years, will my future self thank me, be grateful that I made this decision, or will curse me for making messing up life
Yeah.
just by following my own instinct? So this one question is what I apply for myself, and I think you guys can apply to ask yourself if your future self will be thankful to you for choosing this choice, specific choice that you're making.
Perfect point there. Before we get to the next question, guys, right now, I know you have a lot of questions in your mind. Put it down below so we can discuss that question and we can talk about it. And at the end of the day, there are so many things to ask, but I want to make sure I ask your questions first.
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
Speaking of just now, you mentioned about the future stuff, right? I also have a strategy that I use. I say like, so in let's say later on when I have some kids, I don't know how many. Am I gonna be proud to tell them I failed in this, I
Yeah,
did this, I made this mistake or something? Is it gonna be inspiring to them, or is it gonna be just like another typical dad stories?
yeah, that's one way to
Yeah,
reflect on
yes, yes,
ourselves
yes,
actually.
exactly.
Yep.
Now let's talk about the barriers for youth empowerment specifically. Yeah, we can talk about like all these beautiful, beautiful things, but no point
Yep.
if it is not relevant to us, to the world we live in,
True.
and the situation we have, right? What do you think are some of the barriers that either you yourself or maybe your peers are facing right now, and what could be probably some solutions to those?
Maybe you want to go first? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, sure. So, as from my opinion,
Mhm.
the first barrier that really disturbs our youth empowerment is that the idea that has been embedded in our society right now, the whole ideology that the word too young, the phrase too young means it's something negative. Too young means you are not ready, you're not there yet. So this whole idea has been put in ourselves,
Mhm.
it's in our mind actually.
Mhm.
Even we talk about youth empowerment, but when let's say there's a candidate in the election who's 23 years old or 24 years old, you yourself will hesitate a bit, thinking if they're ready for it, or is it the right time for them to lead the country. So I think that idea is really disturbing our youth empowerment. And another thing that is disturbing is that we youths are more there's one weakness among ourselves
Mhm.
that we have to notice, that we are ready to empower ourselves, but when it comes to greater cause, collective goodness, we try to step back a bit, because we don't see young politicians as much as we see young entrepreneurs. Because young entrepreneurs are like almost everywhere nowadays, everyone are willing to fulfill their goals, but nobody is ready to help the country, the globe. Very few people are stepping out in the politics on the
Mhm.
serious business that won't give them only fame, but that can help the global the whole globe to grow together actually.
Very good point. I also frequently hear I'm just a student, and when I hear that, I'm like, what? If you think you're just a student, then yes, you are just a student. But we see a lot of students
Yeah,
I am a
we are
who
student as
are
well.
students.
who are not just students.
So, if you ask me what are the barriers for youth empowerment, is that youth empowerment means that you literally take charge of your life, right? So when you lack in skills, some set of skills, or when you lack in experience,
Mhm.
those are the barriers for your youth empowerment. That is what I feel, because when you want to take charge of your life, you want to do something what you want to do, and then you're lacking s- some skills. Like for example, if you want to create something and then you lack in the innovation, the creativeness, and then it's not going to empower you, then it's not what youth empowerment is. If you
Mhm.
want to take charge of your life, you have to do something, and then
Yeah.
you have to have the experience, you have to be eligible in
Mhm.
in the empowerment that you want to empower people with. So yeah.
Good. Guys, in case you don't know what is happening here, it's freezing cold over here. So in case we see we're
I'm
doing this, we're doing
shaking,
this,
yeah.
we're shaking, that's the reason, okay?
Yeah, basically I'm moving around here and there because I'm shaking. It's really cool over here.
And don't forget, put your questions down in the comment below so we can ask it, okay? And if we could get the questions as well, it would be great. Awesome. We have two questions.
All right.
In the meantime,
Yep.
let's talk about your inspiring figures. Like, who do you look up to as a youth and you want to be in their shoes? And what qualities they have that make you looking up to them?
um as a youth, actually I look up to my favorite person that I look up to is basically Robin Williams.
Mhm.
Because in his youth he did so much,
Mhm.
he didn't hesitate to, like, if this would go right, or if this would be
All right.
relevant. So he just went for it,
Okay.
he just tried everything. So I think Robin Williams is one person I would look up to for being truly himself. So
If you ask me, then it's going to be as cliche as it sounds, but the favorite person, someone I look up to, is my lecturer actually, because ever since I get into the university, I still remember I was really nervous, and then the first ever person that I met in university was my lecturer, and when I told her that I'm really really a social and anxious person, I sometimes mute go mute and I don't talk really that much, and I'm gonna pursue what uh, like in mass communication you have to talk,
Yeah,
but
talking
then
is everything.
I have difficulties in talking. So when I asked her, she was like, don't worry about that, you can do this, you can do this. And then I was like, okay, I think I can do it. And then currently I'm taking two subjects with her, and she is
You're talking about the amazing Cheryl, right?
Yes,
yes,
yes.
Who
actually.
doesn't know Cheryl, right?
Who
Go ahead.
doesn't know her? Okay, so anyway, I look up to her because I feel like she has so many things inside of her that I need to learn from her. She she literally has answers for literally anything you ask her. And when you are like in doubt, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like I'm a very I react very fast, and then she's like, you know what, you have to control yourself, emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
And whenever she talks about emotional intelligence, I'll be like, okay, okay, I need to listen to this. Yes, I need this. And yeah, she is someone I look up to. Yep.
Perfect, perfect. We have one question coming from one of you guys, and that is, so you've been empowered at one point at a time, at one point of time, and what are you going to do to continue this journey, empower your peers, empower the next generation? What are you gonna do about it?
One thing I want to empower my fellow
Mhm.
peers and whoever is going to be with me is that I want to make sure that their voice can be heard. Because it's really important that they start talking. Because so like how what Bhagya just now said, that when it comes to the word young youth, they think that they are immature. So if you want to break through that, if you want to like say that, prove them wrong, that no, I know what I'm doing, and then you have to start talking.
Mhm.
When you start talking, when youths teens start talking, the adults will start listening. So I want to make sure that their voice can be heard and that they start talking.
Great. How about you? What's your plans or
Okay.
goals in this journey?
My plans, ever since young age, I've always wanted to give back to my society, this whole society that we are living in. We take so much, but we give so little.
Mhm.
So I think when I'm empowered enough, when I'm there, when I really feel proud of myself that I've accomplished everything, I would help children to with emotional intelligence, mainly because our generation is growing up to be very depressive, stressed, and our whole generation is messed up when it comes to emotional intelligence. So I think I would help them in that matter so that they can grow up living a peaceful life, actually.
Yep.
Great, great. Really
What
hope
about you then?
that's a
What do
good
you think?
question. uh, I'm already kind of like doing it somehow um, by like there are some points in universities especially where you see that we're not really ready to enter workforce.
Yep.
We're not career ready.
True,
We
true.
don't know what is it like to work. We only know how to study, get 4.0, and then that's it, as if
Yep.
like that's industrial 4.0, but that's a different story, right? uh, it is very important for every student to understand that it is not just the studies or academic qualities. While they're very important, there are also other things about personality.
True.
You can get good grades, but you can never have good personalities by reading a book. You can have a good
Schools.
insights about the world around you by just doing an exam, right? So what I do, and I will continue this for sure, is to help more and more students by workshops, trainings, all the events I do, to make sure that at least I contribute to this. Even if I can't change the world, I try to change
Yep.
a little bit.
Yep.
Let's go to next question.
Sure.
We have this question coming in again from our live session. What is it like to be a mature person? Is it age? Is it what is it?
For me, it is not the age, because I think when I was 16, right, my parents taught me to be independent. Just right after I turned 16, my parents were like, okay, from now on, I'm not going to give you pocket monies. I'm not going to send you here and there. if you want to move around, try, you'd find your way. And I think I, even if I'm not there, but I think I am there already, but I don't know, I'm not really sure. But I, um age is not, age doesn't, you know
Doesn't define
yes,
maturity.
yes, truly agree with that. Age doesn't define your maturity. Like when you try to not associate with dramas,
Mhm.
when you try, like, you avoid
Youth drama.
dramas. Yeah, especially when we are youth, we see a lot of dramas in university and all stuff like that. And yeah, when you start to not associate with things like that, when you start to not explain yourself, you know and then you start saying no to people. I was a I was a girl who felt that it's really pressuring me to say no to someone when they ask me something.
Mhm.
And then when I taught myself to say no to them and then stop explaining to people, that is when I know that I have matured.
Great.
What about you?
Yeah, I truly agree on
Thanks
your
for
statement.
passing it back to you directly.
She's
Go
doing
ahead.
your job.
Thank you so much.
I truly agree on the statement that age doesn't define your maturity, because I've seen people who are very young and still matured, and who are very old but still not matured.
Mhm.
So it all depends on their experience, I would say, totally on their experience, because you can be like 16 or 17, but you would have faced so much of hardship,
Mhm.
and you know what it feels to actually struggle for daily meals, things like that. it,
Yeah.
it really makes you mature. And there are some adults or even elder person
Mhm.
who never actually experienced this kind of hardship, so comparatively they are not as matured as this teenager is. So it's all depends on their experience, I believe.
You brought up a good point about financial crisis when it
Yeah.
comes to youth as well. Um, I mean, it's not a crisis for like for say, but it's like um, it is a struggle.
Yep.
And no matter how poor or rich someone is, as a student, there's always a lot to take in financially.
Financial.
Whether your own cost of living or tuition fees or whatever it is. Uh, what is, I don't know, your opinion on this financial situation when it comes to youth? How do you manage it?
I think you have to uh find what you have to set a set of goals first. You have to know what you are really good in
Mhm.
and start exploring in them. You have to find your talent, and then from exploring your talent, I would like to tell this as well.
Mhm.
If you are exploring your talent and you're venturing into it, just know that the day you uh, seed a tree is not the exactly day who you get the fruit as well. So don't expect you become suddenly financially freedom right after you venture into something,
Yeah.
but try to find your goals and
Believe in the process,
believe in
right?
the process and go for it. You know.
Good point. How
So
do you do your
okay.
financial
um
crisis?
the only one key tips I would give to students like me when it comes to financial crisis, or even like being independent without your parents support, one thing you should start is that even for teenagers, your parents won't let you to go for work at a young age. If you want to live your own life, you want to say that I'm in charge, definitely they are not going to let you to go for a work. So one way you can keep your expenditure minimalized is that you have to be self-disciplined. Let's say you need a pair of shoes. Your necessity is shoes, but you don't have to get 100 ringgit or 200 ringgit price shoes. You just need a shoe that could last longer, depending on what purpose you are buying it
That
for.
just serves the purpose.
Yeah, that just serves the purpose. Many of our youths nowadays are so comfortable with branded items, but you have to realize that it's your parents buying for you. So you
True.
have when you have the self discipline that you have to buy it with your own hard earned money, that's when you will realize the value of the item that you're getting actually. So that self discipline will drive you towards stabilizing this financial crisis actually.
Great. We're about to end the session. Unfortunately, we couldn't answer more questions of yours. Maybe in the next session, who knows?
Maybe.
There may be more.
Maybe.
Just remember, you're not just a student. It, forget about all these things coming into you. You're too young. You're not ready yet. You're only in university. Why do you want to start a business? Why do you want to learn more? Why do you want to be independent? Why? So many more whys. So in those situations, remember, never, ever, ever, ever forget that you are not just a student. You can be a lot more.
True.
And for God's sake, please keep your social distancing.
Stay safe, guys.
Stay safe.
Stay
Please do.
safe.
And
Wear mask.
you are more amazing than what you think, okay? Ciao.
It began with a bold vision to build KL Metropolis, a development that would establish a new international trade and exhibition district in Malaysia, built in partnership with the government by Naza Group's property arm, Naza TTDI. The crown jewel of this grand vision is the Malaysia International Trade and Exhibition Center, the preferred international destination for exhibitions and events. Like the fine gold and silver threads of the Songket weave that inspired its facade design, MyTech is the embodiment of refined craftsmanship, creativity, and precision. As Malaysia's largest exhibition center, MyTech's functional spaces are unprecedented. Primed for exceptional displays, surrounded by state-of-the-art facilities and amenities.